that many people watching it. Everybody's in work and school. They'll see it tonight. Welcome to the Zone's All Access, hosted by the Sports Center. We're at episode 46. Today we have Cumberland Gap head football coach Nick Nash as my guest. We'll talk about football past and football coming up. But first, we need to thank our sponsors, our marketing partners. Without them, we couldn't do what we do. We have some premier partners we need to mention. Stay and Play Doggy Daycare, Value RX Pharmacy, Tazewell, Tennessee, Whitaker Insurance Agency, Harshside Bank, Pizza Inn of Tazewell, Walker & Walker Construction, Clayton Homes of Middlesboro, Claiborne Health and Wellness, Roland Vet Services, Danny England Motors, and as always, communications provided by our friends at First Century Bank. Nick, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Let's talk about your season. You absolutely, the first half, you guys just shocked a lot of people with the way you played. And I think they weren't prepared to what they saw.
Yeah, the first 5 games we played some decent football. I think we we was 3-2 after 5 games. I think we should have won one of those. Should have been 4-1. I think. Latter half of the season started struggling a little bit, and some injuries, and the later you get in the season, the more injuries you have, and the more holes you got to fill, and the latter part of the season was a little disappointing, but kids kept fighting. We were going to keep fighting, and we was all in all, I feel like we wanted to do a whole lot more than we got done, but we'll keep grinding.
What goals did your team have that you reached?
Some of the things that we talked about, back in the summer is, just wanting to improve, in each and every aspect of the game. I think we done that in the first half of the season. I thought we did. I thought we got better in many ways, reached some goals that we wanted to, to reach. Again, we got into the tougher part of our season. The later we got into some region play and played some good teams and
very good teams.
Fell short on a few of those, but we reached some goals. I felt like we as a program we got better, but still got a long way to go.
Yeah. Okay. What about a goal that you really wanted to reach that you did not reach?
Well, our main goal was 7-3. We set a goal for 7-3. Obviously didn't reach that. We wanted to be a 500. The boys wanted to be a 500 team. Kind of fell short of that. So, that is goals that we didn't meet. But we're going to continue to fight for those goals, and the guys we've got coming back are eager to make that 7-3.
Nick, what second-year coach? What have you learned over that period of time?
Oh Lord, I don't think we got enough time. I made so many mistakes the first year. Put it in a nutshell. I think just making sure I slow down and making sure that I slow down and make sure it's about the boys and not so much about yes, we all want to win, but I feel like sometimes we as coaches we get infatuated with wins and losses, but I have learned to slow down and make sure my first job is to take young boys and try to make them young men.
Yeah.
And I think my first year I was I could probably stay busy and was worried about some things like that. But this year slowed down a little bit and and make sure that I pay attention to what truly matters.
That said, what are your goals for next year?
We've got a lot of our guys coming back. We lose we lose a couple key players that's going to be hard to replace. Obviously, our goal is the same. That we're trying to change the culture there at the Gap. We want this to be recognized as a winning program, a successful program. So just to continue to win, continue to put good games together and compete. Just compete. I tell the boys all the time, win or lose, let's just compete. And I think once we get to a point as a program, as a football team, that we compete all 10 games, a lot of games will fall in our favor.
Okay. Talk about the staff you had this season and what they brought to the table.
Yeah. We all know that it takes a whole lot of hands, to make a program work. The staff was great. We all know that we don't coach for money.
No, you don't hear.
Not here, and so, I had so many good guys, give up a lot of their time to pour into these boys, and that's what makes this community great is, the fact that you have alumni, you have coaches that want to come back and pour into the kids of our community. And, and I couldn't be more happy with the guys and just blessed to have them.
Yeah. Give us a performance assessment on the staff, in grade level, A, B, C, D, E, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that everybody can always improve, but it starts with me. It starts with me. I have to make sure that I'm on my game. That I'm doing the best that I can do. And because it starts and ends with me. So if I'm not up to my best, I can't set the standard and then me not meet it. So I think the most important thing for that is I've got to make sure I'm doing my job, and those guys will fall right in and do theirs.
Okay, what were some of your favorite moments of this season? Well, of course, the first win.
Yeah, we had a couple big wins, against Cosby, against a really good Cosby team. We had a win against a good Wartburg team. One of my favorite memories was probably the Wartburg game when we had to grind out a win. I felt like that was a good win. We grinded out a win at Cosby, and we went to Union County and we were down by 3, with 3 minutes to go, driving, to win the ball game, and failed on a 4-point or fourth down conversion. A lot of good memories. A lot of those, but just those couple hard ground out wins was definitely my favorite part of the season for sure.
Okay, what disappointed you? What's your least favorite?
Just how we kind of fell off towards the end of the year. I was kind of disappointed in how that worked out. Not to say that the kids didn't, the kids still played, the kids still tried. I'm just disappointed how the ball bounced. I'm just disappointed how the ball bounced for us. But that's part of the game. You got to take the good with the bad, and you got to roll with the punches. So, but I hate that the second half of the first season was the way that it was.
I noticed about all your games, you would take that opening kickoff. First time you saw the ball, kickoff or not. First time your offense saw the ball, it would either score or get within the red zone within 5 yards a lot of times, and not be able to punch that in.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I think and I tell the kids all the time, football has so much more. It's so much more of a mentality than it is a physicality thing. If it just like you said, if you'll notice, when their mindset is good, first drive, we're boom, 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 boom.
About every game.
First thing, and one of the problems that we're trying to change right now is, sometimes when we get punched in the mouth, we don't punch back really hard. We've got to be more mature as that, as a program, as players, as staff. Not to let the first little thing, first obstacle, stop our momentum, so to speak. And we done that in 2 games, 2.5 games. We done that at college and we done that at Wartburg. But there was some games that I felt like that, our mentality, we was a little weak in our mentality, and when things got tough, we didn't bounce back so well. So that's one of the things that we're going to work on as a program, as a team, as a staff. So,
What's the challenging part of this past season?
oh man, just obviously the losses are tough. The losses are tough when you have a great week of practice and things don't go your way on Friday night. That is just, it's tough to see the boys they've worked hard all week. They've not missed practice. They didn't fuss amongst themselves. We had no locker room issues with guys fighting amongst themselves. I was so proud of that. It showed a lot of maturity with that group of kids. It's just tough to see them work hard and then just not go well on Friday nights. But again, that's where we've got to be better as a program. That's where we have to make sure we prepare better and our mentality is better.
Yeah. As always, the coach tries to make players better.
Mm-hmm.
Also making, as you spoke about before, good kids off the field. Do you feel like you've accomplished that?
I think so. I think if you look at our locker room, and as I say locker room, I'm talking about our group of boys. Yeah, I think so. I mean, like I said, we didn't have any issues when it come to internal issues. I thought that they handled themselves really well when we had issues. We ironed it out, fixed it. They are a good, mature group of guys that that I'm very proud of.
What steps will you and the coaching staff do a little different to be a better team next year?
Yeah, as a coach, you can always look back and man, I should have done this, I should have done that, I should have done this. I think one thing that I want to make sure that I do is not get too complicated with things and make sure that I stick back to the fundamentals. I think sometimes as coaches, I think we get blinded by some new offense or some new plays or some new of this when we probably should be just getting right back to the basics of football, because football in a whole is a very simple sport. You got to block, tackle, and so I think for me and my staff, I think making sure that we don't skip those fundamentals.
Okay, what are the holes you need to fill coming up next year? And do you feel you have the players to step in them empty holes?
Yeah, we've got obviously we're losing Hunter Gibson. He was he's a two-way starter, good kid, great football player. We'll be missing him. We've got some young kids. We've got young kids that that's going to have to step into that role and pick up that weight there. Missing, we're going to be missing John McOlin on the line. He's just not even as a football player, as a leader in the locker room and amongst the offensive line and defensive line. He's going to be hard to replace, but he's got a little brother I think will step in there and help a little bit. Yeah, we've got some guys that we're going to miss for sure. But we've got young kids that I think it'll be a learning curve for them next year, but they've got the talent to do it. Okay. So we're excited about what we've got.
What aspect of the team or players are you excited about?
I really love we got a great junior class now, which is going to be seniors. Obviously, very excited about them. They're a good group of boys, and I think once we learn how to win and finish ball games, we're going to be a very dangerous team. I think. Excited about that. Excited about the young kids. We had a good freshman group come in. Excited about those kids. future is definitely bright for those kids.
Okay, you'll have probably another season like this as far as the scheduling.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, is next year going to be a little different, or is it basically the same schedule, just flipped over like every 2 years?
Yeah, it will be. It'll be just flipped from this year, scheduling wise. Our region doesn't, our region play obviously will stay the same for next year. Happy Valley, South Green, they're going to be tough games. West Green, they've got some young kids coming up, so we definitely got our work cut out for us as a program, but we're excited about the challenge.
Okay, going back to this past season,
Mm-hmm.
what games did you think you should have had and mistakes cost you, or so whatever happened?
Yeah.
What games can you?
We opened week 1 and with Hancock. Week 2, I think week 2 I think first game jitters and some things got us there. Which not taking anything from Thomas Walker, we lost that by a touchdown. 8, it was 8 points, I think. We go into week 3, we go to Cosby, we beat a good Cosby team. We go to Union County week 4. That is the game that I think if we would have been able to finish that game, I think it would have changed some momentum of the season.
Yeah.
I think that was a very pivotal game. We fell just a couple points short there on that game. So I think that's a game that I look back and say, it's one of those games you think, man, if we'd have won that, what if? But
Right.
I think that's, and then again, later on in the season, we go to Scott County, we play a really good Scott County team. That guy there, he's turned that program around. Hats off to him. He had a lot of good players come in, and of course, the region play that we're in is a very good 2A region team, region teams, and so but the Union County game was that game that, man, if we could have went in 4-1, even 5-0 going into Scott County, it might have been a different outlook.
Okay, Claiborne game this year.
Mm-hmm.
It had to be bittersweet for you, just like I told Coach Lee.
Uh-huh.
You guys coached alongside each other for years.
Yeah.
And although Claiborne was the winner this year,
mm-hmm.
You had to have a little pride knowing that
he
worked under you and alongside of you.
It was, I told him after the game, I said, congrats, man. I said, congratulations. Me and him, very close friends. And so I was proud of him, because I know the feeling that he had, because, of the season we had last year. And, and I was excited for him. I hate it come at the cost of us, but on a professional level, on a friendship level, I told him after the game, I said, man, congratulations. You were smart. You've done exactly what you should have done, and you done well. So yeah.
You're looking back this year, who are some of the athletes that really surprised you, not just on the field but off the field, or something they did?
Yeah, I knew it, obviously, that he was a good athlete, but I was super stoked about the year that Gabe Daniels had. I think he ended up with close to 90 tackles this season. Just an explosive football player. I think I had him out of position last year a little bit. He played corner last year, and maybe I had him out of position a little bit and moved him into strong safety this year, and he was just unbelievable, on the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, Jaden Pearman, great inside linebacker, which, I kind of aggravate him all the time. I expect that out of him. He don't get a pat on the back. That's an expectation out of him. But Gabe, I think, Gabe was huge for us. Offensively, he was huge for us. So I think that was, and we had a lot of young kids step up too. We had a lot of lot of young kids step up and play. We've got some good kids coming up. Brody Lee stepped in there and
Oh, we did, yeah.
played some minutes.
Forgot about him.
Colson come in and played some important minutes, and there at the end, Colson and Brody were starting. They're at the end due to injuries and things of that nature. And as freshmen, um, playing on Friday nights is tough. So they really stepped up there and done good. And like I said, we got a lot of young kids that this freshman group is, I think, going to be a special group. So those were good surprises.
Talk about the growth you've seen in your quarterback, Carter.
Oh yeah. Cole. Which we all know Cole's an athlete. Cole is
very much so. Yeah.
He's a very talented
multi-sport.
Multi-sport. He's a we aggravate him. He's a baseball player, plays football. So
he's a catcher that plays football.
He done. Just his growth and his ability to just jump in there and take control of situations, and we was excited to have him back, and so yeah, we're excited about it.
You do anything off the field that the team really didn't get credit for or anything like that?
Not really. I mean, a lot of times we like to stay under the radar with the good deeds that's been done. I'm just excited that the group of boys that we have, they're willing to do anything on or off the field. So
that's good. What's your program needs moving forward?
Well,
it can not just players, material things too.
Yeah, we're always in need of money for equipment. I mean, and being around the sport for many years, football, men
takes money.
Oh my gosh, we're $10,000 in the hole before we ever even get started every year. And a lot of people don't know that because of reconditioning. Recondition our helmets and recondition equipment. You start off in the hole, and we're working. I got a great booster club. We've raised a lot of money, bought a lot of new equipment. Not only football equipment, but field equipment. For the tackling dummies and those types of things, and jugs machines, and as a community, man, just come out and support these kids. Businesses are always great to buy banners from us, and I know being in a small town, these businesses they get hit with every sport from every school, and
they do.
But they're very good to help our kids, and we're blessed to have a lot of good sponsors.
Very much so. Who do they contact over there if they want to?
Yeah, so obviously they can get a hold of me. But their best bet's to get in touch with Brittany Pearman.
Mm-hmm.
She is the Booster Club president. Everybody knows Brittany.
Doing a good job, yeah.
She does great. So they can get in touch with Brittany, and we can and even if just to volunteer to just to help sell pizza on Friday nights or anything. I mean, just something to support these kids.
I know in the grand scheme of things, they don't think it helps a lot, but working that concession stand, working the gate, it helps a ton.
It helps a ton, and just, that and pick up or clean, just little things that people think is insignificant, is really, really helps.
Yeah, volunteered for the chains.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
True.
Okay, Coach, final words to you. Say anything you want to say about the season and the upcoming season.
Yeah, so just excited about these boys coming back. Excited about I told them, I said, you get a little bit off and we're hitting back in the weight room. I said, you got the holidays and I'll see you the 1st of January. So we're excited. We're excited as a staff, a program with the kids we got coming back. Hopefully we will continue to grow and continue to meet those goals that we've set for ourselves and meet their personal expectations of what they want this program to be. So just continue to support us as a community, and we're gonna keep fighting and keep grinding.
Well, Coach Nash, thanks for coming in, and you should be proud of the season you had. I mean, you turned it around, got 3 wins. Should have had more.
Yeah.
But that's the next step.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you'll take that. And
Yeah, we'll
no
we'll
doubt.
take it as we go,
Got some talent coming in again.
we do. So,
All right, thanks for coming in once again. Thank you everyone for watching. Thanks to our sponsors, our partners, I call them. Without them, we couldn't bring you these and the live streams of the games and events we do. We appreciate every one of you that watches and shares. By all means, share this stream to family and friends, of course. And 46 episodes of something we didn't think we might not be able to do weekly, but we're getting an average about one a week, so we're doing good up here. And thanks a bunch to Rex up here at the Sports Center. As you can see in the background, he's got it. If you need a shirt, anything like that, equipment, come on up and see Rex. All right, until next time, God bless.